Welcome to Certain Point of View, your first step into a much nerdier world. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast on iTunes. Just go to certainpov.com. Thanks. And now your hosts, Ben Milton and Addy Thomas.
Hey, Nerfherders, I'm Addy Thomas.
And I am Ben Milton.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Certain Point of View. We have, this past weekend, we watched Voltron Season 3. This just came out. Obviously, this is being posted about maybe a little over a week after the premiere, after those episodes were released. So you should have had enough time. But if you haven't watched Voltron Season 3, there are going to be plenty of spoilers in this episode, like every episode of Certain Point of View.
So sorry, J. Mike, but you got to know by now, buddy. You got to keep up if you're going to hang out
I might
with
just
us.
give like a shot-by-shot retelling of the entire season just because J. Mike hasn't watched it yet.
I'm so disappointed in
Before we get to our shot-by-shot retelling, I'm just not together today. I just want to go eat. That's all I want to do. And I've already eaten.
just ate.
I know. It's that kind of day, man.
Hashtag Team Addy.
But speaking of hashtag Team Addy, which is right now not the best team to be on, but we will rise again, or at least we'll lose weight again.
You're going to rise again because you've eaten so much dough.
Yeah, that's true. I can't say no to that. You can follow Weight Loss Civil War. You can find out how to be a part of what we do on the podcast through Patreon. Just go to our website, certainpov.com. All our social media is there, so you can keep up with us on whatever platform works for you. Again, certainpov.com. All right, Voltron Season 3. So already, just setting this out there, you and I definitely huge fans of the new Voltron series. Well, I never watched it. Yeah, I know Netflix released some of their the favorite episodes of the producers of the new series, and I want to go and watch that just for the fun of it, especially just now knowing.
Compare.
Yeah, just it makes it a whole lot more interesting instead of just going to old Voltron without the new series. Because I absolutely love the series. I had zero knowledge of Voltron going into the series. In the first season, I knew the robots come together. I didn't even know they were lions or whatever or anything like that. Yeah, no, that's how little knowledge I had. I was just like, oh, Voltron, animation. Lauren Montgomery is the showrunner, and she's been part of a lot of DC animation, a lot of their good animation, not on a lot of the recent stuff, but she was on the two Green Lantern movies that I really like, which is Emerald Knights and First Flight, which is really, really good. Justice League Doom, I think Crisis on Two Worlds. So she's along with sort of that Bruce Timm crew of people. I think she was on Legend of Korra, which is also really good. So there's a lot of talent that's come out of some of those shows, like Dave Filoni on Star Wars Rebels, Giancarlo Volpe, who did Green Lantern the animated series and is now doing Star versus the Forces of Evil.
I still need to watch that.
It's a fun show. It's really cool. And Lauren Montgomery is also a big part of a lot of those shows too. I guess along with Bruce Timm and some of those guys. So she's definitely someone who kind of gets a lot of the sensibility and a lot of the really good character stuff that they've done on a lot of those series.
Yeah.
That I think some of that a lot of the recent DC animation lacks a lot of that nuance. But it's been exciting to see this series because, again, coming in fresh and just getting to know these characters has been really cool. And a lot of the little moments, too, and just great casting across the board. Mm-hmm. Season 2, the first season was a good chunk of episodes. Season 2 was small, but then Season 3 is a whole lot smaller. It's only 7 episodes. Each episode's, 23?
Somewhere around 20 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Sort of the standard, TV
a little bit longer than a TV show.
Yeah.
But having the really short season forces them to be really
focused,
tight with their storytelling.
And it was a great story. What are sort of your overall impressions of the new season, Ben?
It got stronger as it went on. So as a fan of the old show, there's a couple things that here's how I remember the show. It was basically Voltron versus Monster of the Week. Hagar would, use her magic and create this new monster, and he would, we're going to beat Voltron, and then, the Lions would have to fight him, and then they realized they couldn't fight him, and they had to form Voltron.
Right.
And eventually the sword would come out, and then, of course, the monster got dead.
Yeah.
That's, and it was the same thing over and over and over again. Just oh, it's a different monster this time. And it had a little twist of oh, this time it can defend the sword, so, and they kept getting stronger. But then you also had the idea of, Lothar coming along as the second villain behind
Zarkon. Yeah.
and he was good, but they've made him even better this time.
Well, so what was Lothar like in the original series? Like his introduction is a very cool moment in the series, and then the further reveal of who he really is even cooler.
Way cooler. Yeah, like they go a lot more into the character. So like all this, like Lothar was like season 2.
Yeah.
Like we're already into season 3 and we're just getting introduced to him.
Yeah.
Like the guy, the original Black Lion.
Zarkon?
Shiro disappears in like episode 3.
Oh, really? In the original series?
The original series.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
He's not around long before Keith takes over the team.
Yeah.
And he doesn't come back till like the end of the show.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. At least that's how I remember it. I could be completely wrong, but like my like 11, 12-year-old brain, like that's how I remember it.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're really pulling the taffy and getting you to like care about these characters.
Yeah.
Care, like everybody was like, "Oh, Shiro's cool. Shiro's cool." Oh, Shiro's gone. All right. Well, I guess we got Keith now.
Oh, Shiro's kind of
Shiro's
the coolest.
so bad.
Although I'm a huge Lug fan.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Yeah, now, being a fat guy, I'm like, oh, yeah, I totally identify with that guy. All he wants to do is hide and eat. I want to be in the yellow line because it has the most armor. I was like, I understand that. You know, that's so they're really pulling the taffy. They're really getting into who these characters are.
Yeah.
And you have like a lot of really great moments, like
Yeah.
the motivations of why each person wanted. Like when they have the argument about who should take over the Black Lion.
Yeah.
And they're trying to decide that all out. Like everybody's motivation, like they didn't go through all that. It was just sort of like, well, I guess Keith's the leader now.
Right.
You know, so it's really cool the way that they've developed, like the lions choosing, like the lions have their own personalities and stuff like that.
Because it adds a mystical element, so it's beyond technology. There's also like willpower comes into play. Like this does a really cool job of like mixing sort of just like I guess a cool mech story along with sort of like a Green Lantern story element with that.
Yeah.
Because of how important their will is when they're forming Voltron or just fighting in general or
working
getting
together.
out of, yeah. And I do like the, just in terms from the perspective of plot, it's a great season. It feels a lot like I was also really excited jumping to the end.
Oh, the last episode?
So good.
It's amazing.
So good. But actually, a little further, like after the end, I was excited to see a trailer for the next season already.
Yeah.
Like this is already the second season to come out this year.
Yeah.
So they're gonna have another season.
Yeah. So they're not Game of Thronesing this.
Right.
They're actually putting these things out.
They're just trying to put out as much content as they can, which
and good content.
Yes, very good content. And this felt like a little bit more like it's about 2.5 hours, so it felt a little bit like a movie that they added out there. And we're expecting more content coming out in October 13th, I think.
Yeah,
is what it is. So I'm super excited about that.
Right
I will say
Stranger Things.
Right. I will say the trade-off I think with that and. One of the strengths of the first season and the second season are some of the smaller character moments got a little bit lost in this particular season.
You didn't have as much of like Pidge and Hunk this season.
Right. Like because you would have moments like Hunk, like, making like food, or like you'd have like the mall episode in season 2
is very fun.
Is a memorable episode.
Yeah.
Is a fun episode.
Yeah.
So it doesn't necessarily have room for stuff like that, which to me is all right, like I don't want to have it come across that I'm complaining, because this to me is sort of similar to how I felt about Daredevil season 1 versus 2. Because Daredevil season 1 has a lot of room to breathe, and you get a lot of the moment for the show to slow down and get some really cool character moments. A lot of, especially the moments with Matt and his priest, are some of my favorite moments in the entire series. The small moments with Kingpin as well, but then season 2, like, it just takes it up another level, and a lot of really great content. I mean, amazing stuff with the Punisher, amazing stuff with Elektra, but because it was so packed with all that plot, it didn't quite have as much room to breathe and have those small character moments. And I felt that was sort of what happened with this season as well. again, incredible, like some of the best TV I've watched with both Daredevil season 1 and 2, and along with Voltron season 1, 2, and 3, still some of the best TV I've watched. So I'm all for more, but I would like it's hard to argue that like we should have a filler episode in a 7 episode season. So it's harder to accomplish.
Yeah, because you run the risk of, and we bitch about this in Jessica Jones, we bitch about it in Luke Cage,
right?
Where we were like, this should be like a 7 or 8 episode season, really, because some of these episodes and some of these plots like really aren't important. They don't really drive the story forward. So it's a little bit tough, I want my cake and eat it too argument.
Yeah, it is, and that's what I realized because I was gonna lead it right to that, because it's I don't know if it's a matter of compelling character work that you want, because see, at the same time I also remember great moments. Like one of the most memorable moments for me in the Justice League animated series, Bruce Timm's series, is there's a trilogy called Star-Crossed, and that's when the Thanagarians invade Earth and Hawkgirl betrays the team, but then there's conflict within her and like tears the entire team apart. But one of the things that I always look back on that series, and I think is a really strong part of what makes that particular trilogy of episodes incredibly strong, is there's a Christmas episode right before it. And a Christmas episode is like, it feels like a complete throwaway, because like you have like Ultra Humanite helping the Flash like fix a toy that is like, this is the last toy of the hot new toy, and get it to some orphans. You have Hawkgirl and Green Lantern, which is actually the most important part, like them falling in love and visiting different bars within the universe type of thing. But because of you feel that good feeling around with the entire team, that betrayal in the very next series of episodes is that much stronger.
Right.
So it's nice when you have that kind of, I guess, real estate to kind of work with, to be able to do those kind of arcs. Yeah. And that's to me, that's the beauty of TV. It's interesting because like it's the same thing. I've seen some complaints, which is really weird, with the most recent season of Game of Thrones, where it's like, oh no, we're not getting small character moments anymore because they're just moving so fast with the plot. But that's also like, I like that right now, because that's the nature of this. We're getting to the end of this show, so you need to have that third act, like fast moving plot, getting to the climax. It's the rising action. So I don't know. It's a tough. I think there's definitely a lot of different angles into this issue, but I don't know. What do you think? I threw a lot out there.
I liked this season, and I don't necessarily disagree with you. I think that I disagree with you a little bit about Daredevil season 2. I thought there were plenty of really good small moments. The episodes where they're doing the backstories with Elektra, the cemetery scene with Punisher. I thought there were just as many. They were later in the season, whereas they were a little more front-loaded in the beginning of the season. Yeah. In season 1, with this season, it is pretty action-packed, but I think it follows.
Is a good thing.
But there's a reason for it. It's not, it's Keith. We're following Keith this season. Yeah. And Keith's evolution as the leader of Team Voltron, and his obsession with getting revenge for Shiro, and his obsession with getting Lothar. And so we spend 5 of those episodes of Keith and the team chasing Lothar and getting beaten by Lothar. Yeah. There isn't any they're in the drag or the lions the whole time. There is no time for a Maul episode, because they're constantly in a battle for 5 episodes. Yeah. So I didn't there really was no place in this season. Right. I'm relieved that they did that and didn't try to shoehorn
a filler episode,
some of those episodes in there just for the sake of story. You're we kind of want to have no. It made sense. Everything was really logical. They were, Keith was I put a bug on him. We're gonna track him. We're gonna go. Let's go. Right. Let's go. And
it also makes sense because of the nature of this story being they've just won a major battle, but they're aimless, trying to find who their identities again with this new dynamic.
There's a huge shakeup on the team.
Yeah. And I think it's just some great stuff that they did. The dynamic shifts were fascinating to watch. And yeah, you're right. Keith being the focus does give this a lot of forward momentum and a lot of drive. And then on the flip side of it, Lotor being sort of the other,
the other side of that other drive.
Yeah.
Going, and just rope-a-doping them the entire time.
Well, let's jump to the last episode, because the last episode is very interesting. Last episode takes
we didn't get that in the original. This part of the story, we did not get
complete flashback to who Zarkon is and the rest of the bigger picture.
Original Team Voltron.
Oh,
how Voltron was created.
I was not expecting
Hagar
that
the
at all.
Witch's evolution. I was like, what?
Right?
I did not see that coming.
I was so enamored. I was on the metro. I was watching this. I walked off the metro onto the platform once I got to my station at home, and I just stood there watching the rest of it. It was 5 minutes left, but it was just I can't. No,
I can't look away.
Yeah.
I'm not looking away. This is too good.
I can't wait 2 minutes to get to the car and then watch the rest.
It was pretty while I'm driving in rush hour traffic.
Yeah,
so
I was
safe.
before I
It's
was going to
safe.
drive.
It's safe. But yeah, that episode was really great. And they took a long time. Normally on a flashback of and here's how everything happened.
You can do a lot of bad stuff with that.
It usually happens really quick. It's just oh hey, this happened. This is so and so, and this is so and so. But they took a half hour.
Yeah, they dedicated the whole episode.
Here you go.
To it.
This is the whole story of how Voltron was created, who did it, how it ties into now, who's who, what's the players, what's the stakes of everything.
Yeah.
Why everybody, who's all the bad guys, and who their motivation is. We didn't have that. In the original series, it was they want to take over the universe. They're bad guys.
Pretty one-dimensional villains, which is pretty standard for animation of that time. So,
exactly. Yeah, and nobody complained. I was 11. I was just this is great. They're bad guys. Kill
right.
them.
In the same way that when I was a kid, Shredder was the coolest villain ever.
Right, and you look at it now, you're like,
oh my god,
what is this?
Uncle Phil, what were you doing? Why did you take this job? There's no character.
There's no character in this. There's no motivation. There's no meat in this. Yeah, but there is in these characters all of a sudden. That's the thing. That's the best thing about this season, is that they give the bad guys character.
Yeah,
they give. All the Lothar is really interesting. Zarkon is interesting.
Well, Zarkon is such a tragic figure. Mm-hmm. I did not expect that at all.
Yeah,
and that was amazing.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see where they take it.
Yeah,
going forward, because with the essence and stuff like that, how is that all going to play in?
Yeah, the quintessence. Yeah, but just before watching season 3, I watched the last 2 episodes of season 2 to just kind of
catch up,
refresh a little bit. But it was really cool. I'm glad I did, because seeing Hagar having the princess recognize that she was Altean was a really cool moment. You know. I mean, it was just there was. I want to go back to one quick thing, just the small character moments again, because the two big losses, I think I will say, of not having those small moments is there wasn't as much time with the mice.
Yes.
Or
the mice rule.
Or why can I remember Reese Meyer's character's name?
Yes. Yeah. You didn't get enough of him, and you didn't get enough of the mice.
But that being said, again, the plot was so good.
Yeah,
I couldn't look away.
It didn't slow down, which was great. I was never bored with it. I was just all right, whatever, they're fighting, whatever.
The moment the episode ended and the screen came up for next episode, I wasn't waiting a couple seconds.
Yeah, I was I can't wait 16 seconds. Let's go. Yeah, it was great. I love this season. If you if you're a fan of Voltron or fan of,
if you're a fan of just good storytelling, to be perfectly honest, in this
it's
case.
amazingly done. I mean, I got somebody hooked on it today.
Did you really?
Yeah, a coworker at work. They were like, I don't have anything to watch. I'm like, watch Voltron.
Yeah,
they're like, Voltron. I'm
right?
like, yes, Voltron. It is fantastic. And so I got a message on my way home today. She's like, I'm watching season 1. This is really good.
Right?
I'm like, I know. That's why I told you to watch it, you moron. So, yeah, it's cool. I'm super excited to see where they go.
Yeah.
What are your predictions? What do you think's going to happen?
I'm interested. Well, Zarkon's back. So
back again. How's that going to play with him and Lothar, though?
Oh, I think you're going to see
Civil War.
Yeah. I think the Galra Empire is.
What's going to be more epic? Iron Man Cap Civil War or Lothar Zarkon Civil War?
I mean, I love Cap. I love that movie a lot. But I love animation more. So I'm gonna have to go with Voltron and the Galra Civil War. I think I'm a little bit more excited about.
Okay.
As amazing as Civil War is, it's one of my favorite Marvel movies. But I'm a little bit now. I will have to say Infinity War has me so much more excited
than anything else. Like
yeah, like right now I'm just I'm still really excited for Thor 3, but every time I see something about Infinity War, I'm just like, I never thought I'd be this excited for Thanos. Like I was watching
yeah, you were just like, I don't really care how this ends a couple months ago.
Seeing that like the leaked footage and not even in good quality, I'm like, oh my god, who's gonna make it out alive? Who's gonna die? I want to know. I mean, I know Spider-Man and Doctor Strange are gonna survive. But there was like I know there's a complete side turn to the side here, but apparently like there's a chance like Ant-Man actually could die. Not that he's like one of the big ones for me.
Yeah.
But there's a rumor that the Ant-Man and the Wasp movie actually takes place right after Civil War, so it isn't necessarily
isn't guaranteed that they're gonna survive past
Infinity War.
Infinity War.
So like especially like with Captain Marvel being in the 90s, like who knows. Like who's really going to make it out of this?
Jumping around in time with these stories. It gets interesting.
Yeah. So there, a lot of what I thought I was certain is now completely shaken up.
Yeah, you're just like, I don't know anything.
Nothing is real anymore.
Wow.
I mean, like I expect Cap to die. I expect Thor, Loki, and Iron Man to go because contracts.
Because Robert Downey Jr. is expensive.
Yes, exactly. But those are the only ones I actually feel confident are going to go.
Interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, that can be saved for another episode. Unless you have something you want to add to that.
No. Well, as far as like my I think you're right. I think Civil War between Zarkon and Lothar and Hagar.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, I'm such an animator. Like, I love animation. I love the Marvel movies. But I really would like to.
But I don't like the Marvel animation.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to lead to. I want Earth's Mightiest Heroes to come back again, which is not going to happen. Nope. But I want that creative team to work. Like, whoever that creative team is, I need to look it up. Because they did an amazing job. You know, they were on par with Bruce Timm and Dave Filoni and those kind of guys as far as what I like about a lot of good American animation. It's the kind of stuff that I want to watch. I'd love for there to be a good Marvel series. I liked Ultimate Spider-Man, and I need to get caught back up with it. I think it's ended or something like that. Because I know a new Spider-Man series is coming out, and I'm actually looking forward to the new Spider-Man series.
Yeah, I am too.
I feel Spider-Man's one of the few animation properties that's been done well in most of its incarnations in animation. So I just feel they have more confidence with what they can do with him.
They understand the character the most.
Yeah, whereas that Avengers series
was awful.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's a tendency to play too young.
Yeah,
with a lot of these characters,
which is odd because DC animation, even the recent stuff, I'm not a huge fan of, but they still have done a better job than Marvel animation in a lot of those in terms of still making it accessible for multiple ages. Yeah, or even if it's not, like they fully embrace it. Hey, this is an R-rated version of an animated story, an animation adaptation. Right. So because the Dark Knight adaptation is really good. Yeah. I absolutely love it, and that's. I mean, yes, it's absolutely some of DC's best work, which is not hard to do at the not a tough standard at this point.
Well, when you have Superman running the show.
But that being said, those are some great pieces, some great movies. Like Batman: Mask of the Phantasm is my favorite Batman movie by far. It's sad to see Marvel has not been able to quite step up into that.
Well, they put all their effort into TV and movies.
And they've done a great job with it, so it's hard to fault them too much.
Yep. I'm not mad.
Yeah, so let us know what you think. Check out Voltron Season 3. Catch up on it if for some reason you watched this episode without watching it. Let us know what you think about Season 3, what your expectations are for the future. I guess we can expect another 7 or so episodes out of the October 13 batch. I imagine that's probably...
Sounds about right.
Probably what they're gonna do is do these more like mini movie, like 2.5 hour sessions, which again I'm all for more of that.
It's
like,
working.
If you're gonna do 2 to 3 releases a year, that makes me super happy.
Yeah, rather than make me wait a year and a half for
like
15,
a 20 episode
20 episode arc.
I like
7 of them. I'm like, meh.
Yeah, because I liked being able to finish it in an afternoon. Like I didn't.
Yeah,
even take a whole
it was
day
easy to binge.
Yeah,
totally binge.
It wasn't even really that much of a binge because it was so short.
Yeah.
It was like watching a movie in the afternoon. So, yeah, it would totally work. So let us know what you think of Voltron. You can go to our website, certainpov.com. Again, our website, certainpov.com. Patreon, social media, all of that stuff is there. Our website, certainpov.com. And until next week, stay scruffy, my nerf herders.
Thanks for listening to Certain Point of View. Don't miss an episode. Just subscribe, rate, and review the podcast on iTunes. Head over to certainpov.com.